Alright, so the next thing that we need to do after we have the outline of the floor plan shown is we have to get some doors and windows located. So the doors and windows are basically, we could draw everything from scratch, or we could use some pre-made blocks, do some editing to those if they need editing. So I have pre-made blocks in the design center, and they're basically in the AutoCAD folder, blocks and details, 2018 CAD standards blocks. And the first one I'm going to pull in is a window for a 2x4 wall. And whenever I bring it in and drop it, it's going to ask me some questions. These are dynamic blocks with attributes added. So the window symbol, we're just going to leave that as A. We're going to make that A. The model number is going to simply be the size of the window, which is a 3648, with the width being 36 and the height being 48. It is a double hung, and the actual size, the rough opening size, we're going to make that 36.75 inches by 48.75 inches, an extra 3/4 inches around, and I say OK. Now whenever I drop that here, it is a block, so if I need to edit it, I may have to explode this. So the first thing I want to do is I want this sill on the inside, so I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees, and I'm going to put it in the center of this wall. So I'm going to draw a line from that midpoint, and I'm going to move this from the midpoint of the window to the midpoint of that wall. And now I can see that this does need modified a little bit. This is including the OSB or the drywall, which we may add depending on the detail level that we want to get into. But I can basically move this back out this way. I'm just going to move it out here 12, and I'm going to explode it. Whenever I explode it, I lose all that functionality. And if I double click that window symbol, I can make that A. So it looks right. So at this point, I'm going to stretch this in 0.5 so that I don't have to add my drywall into this drawing. I'm going to move my window symbol out here out of the way, and what I want to do is I want to draw a line across there and use those as trim lines. And I want to cut that part of the wall out and then move this in place. And I want my text to be reading from left to right, so I'm just going to rotate that 180 degrees. I'll probably end up putting this inside so my dimensions work out. And that's the finished window product. If I know I want a window the same spot, same location on the other side, and I need to check the width of this too, because I have no idea how wide it is right now. So right now it's only shown as 1'10". So I'm just going to simply draw a line from the middle, and I'm going to offset out 18 inches both directions, and that would total my 36 inches. And then I'm going to stretch this from that point to that point. Again, stretch that crossing the things that I want to stretch. I'm going to stretch it from the frame to that open. And now I have a 36-inch window there. So that I don't have to do that all again, I'm going to mirror, select that window, and choose my midpoint of that wall, mirror it over here, and again I'm just going to move this over here 12 inches. I'm going to draw a line across these. I'm going to trim those out, erase these lines, move it back 12 inches, and I have my windows in place. So the next one would be a door. So again, I can do Control-2, bring up my design center. And there's also pre-made AutoCAD blocks in here that you could use as well. I'm going to look for a door. I have all kinds of different doors, and I'm going to use this 36-inch exterior door and drag it, drop it. It's going to ask me some questions. I'm just going to say OK because I'm probably going to end up exploding this anyways. And I know that door needs to go here. So I want the swing of the door to go to the inside. Residential doors swing in. And I'm going to find the midpoint between these two lines. I'm just going to draw another line there and then draw a line out here. And then I know I'm going to need to trim that out, so I might as well do that now. And now I can pick this up and move it from the midpoint to there. I'm going to double check my line length there, 3'4", and this door is 3'2". So it should fit in there without any problem. So I'm going to explode this, and it's not letting me explode it, so I might have to use a different door. Alright, so instead of using this door that we can't explode and modify, we could go into Block Editor and we could change the properties of this block. I think what we're going to do instead is we're just going to make our own. And what we can do is kind of get a feel for what different layers we have and stuff in here. So we have a threshold layer, we have A-door layer, A-swing layer, A-door swing layer, and there's a frame layer. So I'm just going to move it off to the side here for reference, and I'm going to start drawing my door in here. So if I come up here to my layers, I have all these layers in here. So I'm going to start out with my door frame. Or actually, I'm going to start out with, if I do X list, I'm going to start out with that layer, which is my A-wall layer. So I'm just going to leave this in place since it's already on that layer, and I'm going to offset that in 2 inches on each side. And that will be my frame layer. So I can select that and change that to A-door frame. And if I look at this layer, it's threshold layer. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to choose that layer. I'm going to draw that from there to there. And my door is going to swing in this direction, so I can basically do this. I have a 36-inch door I'm going to put it on that layer. I'm going to draw a P line. It's 1.5 inches by 36 by 1.5. That's my door. I want to show it swinging in, so I'm going to rotate it 45, and I'm going to place that at that midpoint. Or I could even place it right there if I wanted to. Probably closer to 1 inch over. So whenever I close this, it would close like that. So I could also go through and I could grab, basically show this trim around there. So I'm going to rotate this so I can find that exactly, minus 45. And I'm just going to come up here, A- door trim. I'm just going to draw a line up, say 0.5 with my ortho on. And I'll come over 125, and then I'll just go to that edge and that edge. And then I'm going to mirror this from the midpoint to the other side. Well, this isn't going to have a 2-inch frame on it. In reality, it's going to be built out to fit our concrete block wall. So I'm going to add 1 inch in here to represent the frame, and then the framing that's going to build it out. Then I would go back through and rotate that.
Don't forget about my whole one. I brought it back. Sorry.
45 degrees. The last thing I need to do is add the swing. So I'm going to put it on the swing layer, A- door swing. And my swing is going to go from, I'm basically going to draw a circle from there to there. And then I'm going to trim it out. So now I have my door in that location. My garage doors are going to be real simple. I'm basically just going to draw a P line. I'm going to put it on the door layer. I'm going to draw a P line that is 2 inches up, 10 feet wide, 2 inches down, 10 feet over, and I have my garage door. And the garage doors are going to sit on the inside of the wall. And just line that up there. And then I can offset these over 1 inch to represent the trim. So I would select those and change those to trim. A- door trim. And I would simply copy this. I'm going to draw a line there, erase these two lines, just draw on this line from that endpoint as a reference, and then I'm going to copy these over from there to there. Now I have my doors and windows located. Once I have these located, now I can go through and I can start adding dimensions. So with my dimensions, I'm going to go back to my Annotate tab. I'm going to choose linear. And again, I'm going to dimension the openings. So Whenever I dimension the openings in a framed wall, I'm going to dimension to the middle of the opening instead of the masonry opening. So I'm going to dimension from the outside edge of the wall to that middle, to the middle of that. I have to do continue, do that once more, dimension from there to there, drop that, DIM, enter, continue, select that dimension, and come over to the middle of that, and finish the dimension string out with that. Do the same thing on this side, choose linear dimension, go to that midpoint, drop it, DIM, enter, continue, select this dimension, and go to that midpoint. Same thing over here, dimension to the middle, drop it, DIM, enter, continue, select that, and then I would do the outside dimensions as well. Pull these out there. Drop those, and now I have it all dimensioned. What I'd like to do a lot of times also is show where the garage doors, or where the cars would actually be parked, where the garage doors would be open. So I'm going to do that as a dash line, and I don't know if I have a layer that represents that built into it. A garage door dash, I do. So I'm going to draw a line that represents that opening. So whenever the garage door is fully open, it's only going to go back 7 feet. So I could represent it like this. Or if I wanted to, I could represent the spot where a vehicle would be parked, which would be closer to 20 feet. Like that. I'm also going to copy this around, and for my doors I'm going to number them instead of giving them a letter. So that's going to be door number 1. Copy this again. That's going to be door number 2. Copy it over here, and I'm going to make that door number 3. And just so there's no confusion, I'm going to put this onto my text layer. Actually, I'm going to make a new layer called A-text. Layer, make A-text, color magenta. Or if you want to differentiate between the two, I could use 193, which is the same line thickness. And I'm going to use under my annotate tab, I'm going to use my multi-leader, and I'm just going to come in here to the wall, and I'm going to say 2x4 stud wall at 16-inch on center. That's the spacing that we're going to use for the studs. And then I'm going to put a dash typical. And this would basically complete the floor plan. We don't have any interior walls showing or anything like that, no support columns, so this is really all that we need for the floor plan.